So spoof movies or parody films have existed since the beginning of the 1900s. Studios have found moderate success in lampooning many known properties and franchises for decades. Not many people are solely famous for producing films in this genre. However, there are two directors who were clever and creative enough to bring us some of the most hilarious satirical films that they've gone down in history as a couple of comic geniuses. Unfortunately, this tribute is not for the Zucker brothers who brought us Airplane and The Naked Gun. Instead, I am talking about two guys whose films not only haven't received a rating higher than 7% on Rotten Tomatoes, but are also considered two of the laziest and humorless directors in Hollywood. Now I'm talking about Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer, also known as just Friedberg and Seltzer. You heard these guys before?
Unfortunately, I'll say it at the top. I am a connoisseur of crap. And that being said, I've seen a lot of crappy movies. These guys are like a modern day Roger Corman, except Roger Corman actually had talent.
So how much do you know about their backstory? You might not, so I'll give you guys a little history of them. Jason was born in Newark, New Jersey on October 13th, 1971, while Aaron was born in Ontario, Canada on January 12th, 1974. The two met in college at the University of California and bonded over their love of films. They never attended film school, which I'm sure surprises no one. However, while in school, they began writing screenplays while working odd jobs such as food delivery, selling homemade t-shirts, and even opened a shoe shop to pay their tuition. Then one day, Jason's father, Rick Friedberg, was doing a spoof instructional video starring Leslie Nielsen called Bad Golf Made Easier. He said, hey, my son wrote this script. Why don't you check it out? It ended up being a spy film spoof, and this led to the 1996 film Spy Hard. Have you seen that?
No, but I've seen the Leslie Nielsen instructional video.
Okay. So after that happened, for the next few years, Friedberg and Seltzer continued writing scripts that never really saw the light of day until they were connected with Sean and Marlon Wayans to create the 2000 hit Scary Movie. This put the duo on the map and eventually would lead them be famously marketed as two of the six writers of Scary Movie. However, after all that, the duos decided that they were getting tired of writing scripts that wouldn't get picked up, so they started directing their own films, which started with Date Movie in 2006 and continued with other films parodying mainstream movies and current pop trends. This earned the pair scathing criticism from journalists and many Razzie Award nominations. So you're like, why are you telling me this, Jarrell? Well, the reason I'm telling you this is because, like most Hollywood directors, Friedberg and Seltzer will be dead someday. And while that thought may delight some of you, we feel like it's a good time to do a pre-death tribute by ranking all 8 of their directed films from worst to best, or in this case, god-awful to barely watchable. Let me explain something. I'm a spoof movie head. I'm a purist, basically. I go back to Airplane, Naked Gun, Spaceballs, Hot Shots, National Lampoon's Little Weapon 1. I'll even say like the movie Not Another Teen Movie is funny. So I'm too biased for this ranking. So I've given that task over to Tyler. He has the displeasure, I should say, of sitting through all these movies, and he will be giving us his list instead. So how was your experience?
I'm not gonna lie. Some of these movies awakened a deep-seated, I guess, suppression of the early 2000s that I didn't think I ever wanted to have uncovered. That being said, it wasn't as horrible as I thought it was going to be, but damn, I did slug through the second half.
With that being said, what is your number 8 movie?
Meet the Spartans.
Meet the Spartans, 2008.
Yes. The only thing I have written down is not only is there a demonic penguin, but it also offers fellatio to save its own life.
I know the fat guy from Borat's in that movie. And also, I would say the benefit of that movie is Carmen Electra, which is probably like the good part of all the films that they put her in. Yeah, so Kitchen Couldn't Tell Us one's parodying 300 in an awful way, and also talking a lot about what was popular and trendy during that year, right?
Mm-hmm.
What made this movie so bad?
Spartans breakdancing, I felt like was the point where I wish I had alcohol at 8 o'clock in the morning, because unfortunately this was the movie I started with.
All right. It only gets better or slightly less awful from here. What is number 7?
Starving Games. So of all of these, this is one I actually saw in the last like 5 years or so.
Hmm.
And the note I have written down, not as good as I remember it, still like old ham.
It's not as good as you remember it. So you were telling me this
Oh.
is your second viewing, and you actually found it funny the first time.
Yeah, actually, I remember finding it on Netflix years ago, and I'm like, hey, this looks kind of interesting. I watched, I'm like, wow, this is actually visually entertaining. But I watched it now, and I'm like, wow, my tastes have become a little bit more sophisticated than when I was 15.
Okay, so we're actually seeing a theme here, you guys. The parental advisory of most of the movies say PG-13, but I think they actually mean you have to be under 13 to see these movies, not over. Yeah, this one actually did not make it to the theaters when they started doing their movies strictly straight to home video or
It shows.
VOD. And this is obviously a parody of Hunger Games. All right, what's number 6 then?
Epic movie.
I did see this one.
So, first off, holy crap, what a hodgepodge of jokes, references, and everything else. Strangely enough, this is the movie I remember most as a kid. I remember walking past the TV, my parents watching this when I was like 5.
And you were like, this sucks.
Yeah, this is one of those deep-seated memories that I don't like to talk about because it just flew over my head.
Did you just like slap your parents in the face? Why are you watching this crap?
I would love to confront them about it one of these days.
I recall the girl kept repeating what the other girl kept saying, and it was like, are you going to keep this joke or have it go somewhere? And they never did. And the other thing I found funny is the infamous Kevin Hart is in the film.
Okay. I was wondering if that was Kevin Hart.
This is before he was Mr. Famous, because this movie came out in 2007. And he said something in a different language, right? But then they translate it, and it's like, doesn't mean anything. And then finally, when he got to kill someone, his last words are, I'm Rick James, bitch. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything you're talking about? It's just supposed to basically for us to be like, oh, I know what that is. That reference I get. Yeah, that movie. All right, number 5, what do you got?
Disaster movie.
Did it live up to his name?
No, first off, it's less of a disaster, more of a mild inconvenience. Oh yeah, the world is ending. What is with these guys and having breakdancing segments in these movies? It's like, there are so much STDs if everyone is fucking everyone at the end of the movie.
Now that movie had like 3 like quote unquote hotties in it, right? You had well, if you want to consider Kim Kardashian hot, but I believe they had the other girl who's married to Nick Lachey. What's her name? Vanessa or something. And Carmen Electra, of course.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that bad, you're saying. Even the Chipmunks parody wasn't bad for you, huh?
Not really. I did get a kind of a kick out of like when they started doing like death metal. I smirked at that.
Uh-oh. They're fucking insidious when it comes at this. Keep throwing jokes until eventually they see some teeth and like, oh, that's it. We got you.
Yep.
What's number 4?
Best Night Ever.
Best Night Ever. Now, I don't know this one. This is the first movie where it's not a parody, is it?
You know what? No. It's like, it's not off the walls. It's not zany like the other movies.
Let's set this up for you people out there, because this movie is them trying something different. It's another movie that came out after they were putting movies out to VOD. From what it looks like in the trailer, this is about a bachelorette party that goes horribly awry, but it's all original stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Like,
right.
I almost feel like they just like hired 4 actresses and like, here's a video camera, go to Vegas, have some fun, make it ridiculous. Here's a loose script, go to town.
Okay, so tell us more. What did you think?
Actually, this is probably one I wouldn't mind going back and rewatching just because it's not off the wall and zany, but it's still like, it definitely stands apart from the other ones because it has like that, not found footage, but like very amateur video kind of quality to it, which sets it apart and makes it unique. I definitely actually enjoyed myself watching it.
Don't you say that.
I know. I'm going to regret those words later.
Okay, so you guys, if you want to see a non-spoof movie that Friedberg and Seltzer actually did, and you definitely have nothing else to do, check out Best Night Ever. It might be actually something that might make you smile. What's number 3?
Superfast.
It's their last movie, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need more Fast and Furious parodies in our lives. This movie is basically that, and they found actors that look pretty much exactly like the characters in the film. And tell us a little more about this. What's the plot?
It's essentially very similar to like the first plot of the first Furious movie, but just some of like the jokes and everything in here make it more entertaining, especially with the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stand-in. He's just constantly covering himself in baby oil, and just not listening to any of his subordinates. It's so stupid, but it made me smile kind of stupid.
All right, so I feel like the advice here is make jokes that are really obvious that everyone makes, but some reason they get you. All right, everyone on the edge of their seats. What's number 2?
Date movie.
This movie I think was their best movie, but you put it number 2.
Yeah.
This movie is basically they're spoofing romantic comedies and also like Kill Bill and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And stars a girl from How I Met Your Mother. And what else you gotta say? What makes this movie so bearable?
It's really good because it kind of blends in with the other rom-coms of the early 2000s. So it has like those, boy meets girl, girl's insecure, something happens, but just some of like the visual gags along the way, like being Jewish, Greek, and Hindu, and then Japanese all at once is just a funny gag. And like saying, oh, you need to meet the same guy, the same thing, kind of parroting a Greek wedding. It's charming in its crap-fueled way.
Okay. I remember it was like the least hated movie I saw by them. So I'm happy to see it made it to number 2. So what is your number 1 for their movies?
Number 1 is Vampires Suck. I actually remember seeing the trailer for this movie. I actually had a lot of fun watching them poke fun at the Twilight Saga because I always get a kick out of it because Twilight sucks.
Aha! So that's
go.
why, because they made fun of something that you don't like.
Yes, because I like good quality vampire movies, and Twilight is garbage.
Well, no one's saying it's not, but so you love the Jersey Shore parody that didn't have anything to do with anything, and
I will say that just the first 5 minutes are filled with so many gags that's actually very enjoyable to me.
Mhm.
I actually wrote down this one quote, which is, I remember we used to play doctor, and I remember I gave you a prostate exam. I know it's supposed to be.
Where's the joke?
Just the idea of a kid giving another kid a prostate exam
Okay.
tickles me.
Actually, that's what happens when you get a prostate exam.
No. Cue the John Mulaney bit. I'm sorry.
All right, so that is your list. What would you say to Friedberg and Seltzer if you were giving a eulogy?
They tried and they failed. Put these bitches in the ground.
Okay, that sounds so touching, but I'll just have to say this. So in case you guys are watching Friedberg and Seltzer, maybe you're considered talentless, uninspired charlatans who never wrote a funny joke in your entire career.
Like and subscribe, folks.